In 1968, the World Bank did something deliberate across Asia and Africa that would reshape agriculture forever and bankrupt millions of farmers. They classified the most productive soil system on Earth as primitive agriculture, requiring immediate replacement with dependency on chemicals purchased annually from corporations. Soil that improved for 2,500 years without any fertilizer, while modern farmland collapses under debt in a single generation. This is Terra Preta and anthropogenic dark earth systems. And this is why they almost disappeared from memory and why 200 million people still refuse to forget. You are watching Forgotten Soil. We uncover the soil system's history buried beneath industrial agriculture. Every episode, we dig beneath one more forgotten field. If you want access to the full archive, subscribe now. This is today's excavation, the soil that survived 2,500 years but could not survive 30 years of progress and loans with conditions attached. Across 6 continents, there are patches of black earth that should not exist according to everything Western soil science believed for a century. Dark soil in the Amazon basin, where every textbook said permanent agriculture was impossible because tropical soils lose nutrients within 3 years of cultivation. The Kuikuro people of Brazil call it eegepe. In Portuguese, Terra Preta do Índio, black earth of the Indian. In Japan, the ancient paddy systems. In China, soil improvement methods 4,000 years old. Soil that does not degrade with farming. Soil that improves. For centuries. For millennia. While you plant and harvest and plant again, this defies the fundamental principle of industrial agriculture, which is that soil is a resource you extract from until it dies and then you move on. These systems work the opposite direction. The more you farmed, the better the ground became. But in 1941, when Spanish explorer Francisco de Orellana reported massive civilizations in the Amazon, no one believed him. They returned 200 years later, found only wilderness. Scientists concluded he lied. The Amazon could never support large populations, they said. The soil was too poor, too acidic, too depleted of minerals. The rain washed everything away. Permanent agriculture impossible. So when archaeologists in the 1960s started finding these patches of impossibly black, impossibly fertile soil, they had a problem. The soil contained 3 times more organic matter than anything around it, 70 times more stable carbon, 4 to 8 times more phosphorus. And it was not natural. It was manufactured by people Western science had written off as primitive slash-and-burn farmers with no sophisticated agricultural knowledge. The excavation opens at the Terra Preta do Mangabal site on the upper Tapajós River. 1998. Dr. Eduardo Neves from the University of Sao Paulo. They expect thin layers of ash, maybe some pottery shards from temporary camps. What they find stops the excavation for 3 days of recalibration. 2 meters of black soil, 6.5 feet of engineered topsoil, where nature provided maybe 10 centimeters of degraded red clay. Radiocarbon dating shows continuous creation from 450 years before the Common Era until 950 of the Common Era. 1,400 years of deliberate soil building. And the soil was still fertile in 1998, still growing crops without any fertilizer additions. This was not accidental accumulation. This was not primitive. This was more sophisticated than anything industrial agriculture has achieved in soil management. Dr. Bruno Glaser at Bayreuth University in Germany runs the chemical analysis. The numbers make no sense under conventional soil science. Organic matter 13 to 18% compared to 0.5 to 2% in adjacent Amazonian soils. That is 9 to 18 times multiplication. Cation exchange capacity 31.2 compared to 5 to 10 typical. That means the soil holds nutrients instead of letting rain wash them away. Phosphorus 200 to 400 milligrams per kilogram. Adjacent soils have less than 50. This is the signature of human bone, and fish remains deliberately incorporated. And the carbon? The carbon is impossible. 70 times more black carbon than surrounding soils, and it has been stable for 2,500 years. In hot, wet tropical conditions where organic matter should decompose in months, this carbon has survived longer than the Roman Empire. But here is what nobody tells you about how this soil was created. It was not complex. It was not secret. The Kuikuro people in Brazil are still doing it today, exactly the way their ancestors did. Dr. Morgan Schmidt from MIT spent 20 years with the Kuikuro villages documenting the method. Published in Science Advances 2023. They sweep ash and charcoal from cooking fires. They throw food scraps, bones, broken pottery into central midden piles around their houses. The organic waste smolders in low oxygen conditions, creating charcoal, not ash. Incomplete combustion. The key difference between slash and char versus slash and burn. After 2 to 4 years, they plant crops on the aged dark earth. Sweet potatoes, cassava, corn, papaya, bananas. The soil is what one farmer called beautiful for planting. Chemical analysis of modern Kuikuro eegepe. Identical to archaeological Terra Preta from 1,000 years ago. Same carbon content, same nutrient profile, same structure. The researchers calculated 110 tons of carbon stored in the modern village middens. 4,500 tons at a single ancient archaeological site, pre-Columbian Amazonia, supported an estimated 6 to 10 million people using these soil systems before 99% died from European diseases after 1492. So what is actually in this soil that makes it impossible according to textbook chemistry? The secret is not the nutrients. Nutrients you can add with any fertilizer. The secret is the structure that holds nutrients over centuries instead of weeks. Biochar. Charcoal created through low oxygen burning. It has 9,000 square feet of surface area in 1 gram of material. That porous structure provides habitat for billions of microorganisms. The negative electrical charge attracts and holds mineral nutrients and water. pH increases by 1.3 units, making acidic tropical soils neutral. Aluminum toxicity, the main problem in Amazon soils, drops dramatically. Water retention capacity increases by 25%. Earthworm populations explode. Pontoscolex corthrurus, the key Amazonian earthworm species, buries the charcoal in thin layers through the soil profile. The carbon structure resists decomposition because aromatic rings with 6 fused carbon atoms are chemically stable, even in hot, humid conditions. This is why the carbon has survived 2,500 years. Industrial agriculture loses 50% of soil carbon globally within decades of cultivation. Terra Preta sequesters carbon, builds topsoil, improves fertility, all simultaneously. This should not be possible, but it worked for millennia and still works today, which raises the question nobody in agricultural development wanted to answer in 1968. If indigenous people created the most sustainable, fertile agricultural soils on Earth, using only household waste and fire, why did the Green Revolution replace it? Why did the World Bank and Food and Agriculture Organization spend billions promoting systems that require farmers to purchase seeds, fertilizers, pesticides every single year? Why classify traditional soil building as primitive when it outperformed industrial agriculture on every metric except short-term yield extraction before collapse? The answer is in what happened between 1968 and 1971, when the global agricultural system locked in chemical dependency for the next 50 years. In 1968, USAID Administrator William Goud gives a speech coining the term Green Revolution, and the machinery starts moving immediately. May 19, 1971, the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research is established, co-sponsored by the World Bank, FAO, IFAD, and UNDP. Norman Borlaug receives the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 for high-yielding wheat varieties. The narrative becomes unstoppable. Traditional agriculture is backward. Chemical agriculture is progress. But the loans came with conditions. Countries had to privatize fertilizer, manufacture, and distribution, had to purchase high-yielding seed varieties that required chemical inputs to perform. FAO documents from the era explicitly classified traditional subsistence cultivation as, quote, primitive agriculture, requiring replacement with modern scientific methods. Swidden system slash and burn practices, indigenous soil management, all labeled inefficient, destructive, unscientific despite feeding hundreds of millions sustainably for thousands of years. The fertilizer market exploded. Nitrogen fertilizer, barely available before 1950, becomes ubiquitous by the 1960s. Asia sees over 10% annual growth in fertilizer use through the 70s. China ends up using 30% of global fertilizer production on 7% of the world's farmland. 300 kilograms per hectare compared to 20 in Africa. And here is what they never tell you about why traditional systems had to be erased. You cannot patent soil-building knowledge that is thousands of years old and belongs to entire communities. You cannot monopolize it when farmers save seeds and create fertility from their own organic waste instead of purchasing inputs annually. You cannot create chemical dependency when the system works without any external products for millennia, generating zero recurring revenue. You cannot mechanize it fully because it requires knowledge-intensive human labor and multi-generational ecological literacy, not capital investment alone. You cannot practice it without traditional knowledge passed elder to youth over decades, which means farmers stay independent instead of becoming customers. The consequences were measurable and devastating within a single generation. Fertilizer use efficiency in China collapsed from 46 kilograms of grain per kilogram of fertilizer in 1980 to 10 to 14 today. Indonesia. The Food and Agriculture Organization praised them for achieving rice self-sufficiency in the 1980s using Green Revolution methods. By 1994, they were importing rice again. Studies in the Republic of Moldova calculated agriculture became energy bankrupt in the 1980s. Energy from fertilizer production, pesticides, and fuel exceeded the solar energy captured in crops. Farmers were using more energy from non-renewable sources than from the sun. Agriculture had become mining, not farming. Global agricultural lands lost 50% of their soil carbon due to intensive cultivation. The opposite of Terra Preta, which sequesters carbon for millennia. But knowledge does not die as easily as institutions hope. Half the world never forgot because the systems kept working while the Green Revolution soil started failing. The Kuikuro people in the upper Xingu River basin of Brazil, hundreds of villagers growing cassava, corn, papaya, bananas on eegepe, their ancestors created, and they continue creating today. One farmer explained it simply: where there is no eegepe, the soil is weak. That is why we throw the ash, the peelings, the pulp. The Maya descendants across Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico, maintaining milpa systems. The three sisters, maize, beans, and pumpkin. Not just food production, but sacred landscapes critical to cultural identity. Across Asia, paddy systems that have been under continuous rice cultivation for over 1,000 years in some regions. In China, 82% of cultivated land in some provinces is still managed as paddy. 4,330 years since the earliest confirmed paddy field at Cheodan, Japan. Rice terraces carved into mountains centuries ago, still productive. The Subak irrigation system in Bali. Complex terraced water management that is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Traditional Swidden agriculture, when practiced with proper fallow periods, 2 to 4 years cultivation, 3 to 9 years fallow. The cycle that worked for 7,000 years, 500 million people globally still practicing some form of traditional soil building, despite every policy, subsidy, and educational system telling them it is primitive and backward. Not nostalgia, just continuity. They never needed permission from the World Bank to build soil that works. Here is where it gets personal for anyone who eats food or cares about the ground beneath their feet. Scientists now recognize Terra Preta as one of the most important models for sustainable agriculture and carbon sequestration in the 21st century. The Biochar movement. Researchers attempting to recreate Terra Preta principles for modern agriculture. Slash and char instead of slash and burn terminology to reframe the practice. If pyrolysis met the entire projected demand for renewable fuels by 2100, the process would sequester 9.5 billion tons of carbon per year. That exceeds current fossil fuel emissions of 5.4 billion tons. Terra Preta principles scaled globally could reverse agricultural carbon losses while building soil fertility. The same institutions that spent 50 years promoting soil degradation, the World Bank, FAO, They now publish reports on soil health and climate-smart agriculture. The principles they promote: reduce tillage, add organic matter, build soil carbon. Exactly what traditional systems did for thousands of years before being classified as primitive, but traditional systems cannot work without the social structures that support them. Secure land tenure so farmers can invest in multi-generational soil building, community coordination for fire management and collective labor, knowledge transmission from elders to youth in languages and practices not taught in universities. These systems have honest limitations. They require adequate land per capita for fallow cycles. They are labor-intensive. They cannot feed current urban populations without systemic change. They work best for distributed rural populations with secure land rights and cultural value placed on traditional knowledge over short-term profit extraction. The soil that improved for 2,500 years without purchased inputs or chemical dependency. The soil they classified as primitive because industrial agriculture could not patent traditional knowledge or monopolize community-based practices. The soil that feeds 200 million people today using methods older than writing, while modern farmland bankrupts farmers with fertilizer costs and collapsing yields. They knew. We forgot. The ground did not. And it is still working, still improving, still feeding millions, still waiting for anyone willing to remember.